Okay. I think you can hear me. I think you can see me. Let me tell the Discord crew I am here. Live and on camera now. And, oops, not live. Live. Give me a second. There you go. Okay, I'm online. Looks, oh, we have two people here, Pluzzing and Palavidres. Palavidres. And okay. You know what? Give me a second. Let me get some water. I'll be right back. Where's my right back? Okay, I am back with some water. And let me just make sure everything's adjusted with the microphone. Okay, okay. This is going to be just a chill stream. A few topics that came up I want to talk about, and we'll take it wherever we need to go. And as always, if you have questions, just answer or just ask, and let's see if we can. I can never promise I'll answer. I can just say I promise we will explore the topic. So the first thing I need to do is, now that I've told the Discord crew, is let me. I didn't ping the right group. Let me do that again. 7pen stream ping. There we go. Okay. Now everyone's pinged. I know I must be doing something right, because twice in the last couple of weeks, people have sent me a YouTube comment saying, I hope you're okay, which I am. Everything's fine. But it's because I haven't been streaming as much. And I really think, what I'm saying is it's kind of a nice feeling. People are actually, I guess, missing my streams. So that was a really nice to know that people noticed I hadn't been online as much. And I'll explain a little bit of what's going on, why I wasn't online as much. I need to get my background music, don't I? Let's see. I want my generic jazz, don't I? I don't see my generic jazz anywhere. I'm gonna have to create a playlist. While I'm doing that, I'll do my background country music. Let's see if that is that playing. No, I'm gonna do background alt. Oh, here. Oh, this is okay. Looks like this is in fact what I wanted. Let me double check though. Yeah. I just got confused because the playlists are named kind of oddly. Okay. And let me get my show notes up. And let me move this iPad out of the way. Lots of little things to talk about today. First of all, why I haven't been streaming as much. It started because as the new year began, I got sick for about, almost 3 weeks. Just didn't feel good. It wasn't like a major illness or anything. I just got a flu, I guess. And I just felt really tired all the time. I was sleeping most of the time. So that kept me out for a while. And of course, I had just no energy as a result. Then on top of it, the last couple of weeks, or even I would say longer than that, it's been a slow news year. There's lots to talk about if I was a political streamer or, current events or something. But in terms of drawing, creative things, digital art, things have been slow. Not a lot very little news about tablets. So that's not really gotten me sort of, really energized to stream. The third thing is I've been extremely busy, and I've been doing a lot of AI assisted coding. Okay, and I'll talk about that in this stream. In fact, I might as well just talk about it now. So many of you know I build tools to help people test their tablets or measure how a pen works. And how can I say this? I wanted to expand those tools to new APIs. Okay, so give me an example. For Windows, there's an API called WinTab, which is what I'm used to using, and I understand it. And I wanted to get another version of the tool or incorporate another API called Windows Ink. You know, you've heard of Windows Ink. And the documentation for doing that is not clear. And it's confusing because if you look at the Windows documentation, there's so many different ways in which you can interact with a pointer. And finally, through talking to AI, I was able to understand the different APIs available, at least some of them. And I got a working system up to do like a simple testing app with Windows Ink API. Hi, Live Big has joined us. First time in the stream. Thanks for joining us. I'm just chatting until I begin the real content stuff. Just telling people why I haven't been streaming in the last couple of a month or so. At least not as much as I used to. I am not a huge fan of Windows Ink Lexer. Though I will say this. I'm beginning to understand its elegance, and I'm beginning to understand why it has benefits, even as a developer. Okay. So AI helped me understand the landscape of Windows Ink versus WinTab. There's actually another API in Windows called Real-Time Stylus, which is supposed to be better, but it's deprecated. And of course, this is all going through AI's filter, so it's hard to necessarily, you can't always trust everything AI says, but it seems to be doing a good job helping me out understand. So with AI's help, I was able to build I have a WinTab Hello World, and I have a Windows Ink Hello World now, and I'm working on an app which I'm calling 7Paint, which is a WPF app that uses right now WinTab. I'll show it to you. I guess I can build it here. That uses WinTab to paint. Now it's a test app. It's not intended as a literal paint program. In fact, if you've used my online tablet tester tool, it looks exactly like that with fewer features, intended for testing. And the reason I want a specific testing app on Windows is higher performance. You get more events per second, so that's very useful for me for measuring the performance of a pen. You get exposure to more information. A great example is with Windows. With using it in the browser, essentially does use Windows Ink. I know the pressure as a number from 0 to 1, so it's a floating point number. But with WinTab, if I know the APIs, I know even more about what's happening in the system. And so that's very helpful for me. And so WinTab actually has even more data, right? So there's actually advantages to WinTab, and there's a kind of an elegance to it as well. Definitely what I've realized is that WinTab is a much deeper API. Like it handles much more complicated scenarios than Windows Ink. So that's where I've been just writing so much code. So there's 7Paint, there's this Hello World for WinTab, this Hello World for WinInk, trying the real-time stylus APIs, and then trying to build libraries I can use. Right. Another thing I've been doing for the first time ever, those of you who use Open Tablet Driver, I decided to get get involved as a contributor to Open Tablet Driver. Now I'm not doing anything deep. They have a list of starting things you can do with Open Tablet Driver, and one is convert. If you use Visual Studio, this will make sense. If you don't, it's not going to make any sense. Convert SLN files to SLNX. Simple task in theory. I took it on. I did accomplish it. It taught me a lot. It taught me a lot about how GitHub Actions work and how to compile something for one .NET framework, but you're using a different one to build it. And I have a pull request in, and at some point, I guess it'll get approved. But I want to eventually contribute something to Open Tablet Driver. Now, specifically, they have a branch which is implementing a new user experience. Now, I don't know when that branch is going to become the released version. I don't think it's anytime soon. I think it's quite a ways off. So I would love to learn about that, how that works, and contribute something. Specifically, I would love to make it easier for those of you who are artists on Windows to use to set up Windows Ink, because right now it is super clunky in Open Tablet Driver. I sort of want to make it, and there is someone has they have a feature request to make it simple, and I'd like to maybe work on that. The other thing I'd like to do is build a test app for Mac OS. That's another thing I'm realizing. We'll get into this. I'm going to talk a little bit about AI coding in more detail in the stream. But now that I see some of the possibilities where it's helping me bridge the gap between my knowledge and specific libraries and systems, I'm much more productive. Does that make sense? Now, I'm not advocating everyone just, vibe code. Definitely you have an advantage if you have coded a lot. I've coded for over 30 years. So, I think that gives me an advantage because I sort of know some problems it'll get into and I can help it avoid it or fix it. But I'm surprised how much AI coding can accelerate what I want to do. So I'm just building all sorts of little tools and things to assist with my tablet stuff. And honestly, I want to make a paint program. Alexa, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And you use the online testing tool, I see. Yeah, sometimes, it is a convenient thing. Now, not everyone can use it because not everyone, some people are using WinTab, and the problem is with their tablets and WinTab. So I want to get an equivalent WinTab testing tool out there, right? And it does raise an issue. There is no standard diagnostics tool for Huion, XPPen, and Wacom. They all have different ways of doing diagnostics. With Huion, they do have a diagnostic tool, but you have to call support or contact support, and they'll give you a private link to a DLL or some binary you install, and then you'll run it. They don't have that as a built-in feature of the driver. I wish they did, because it would probably solve some problems for people. So that, just doing a lot of technical things, and I will talk more again about AI and vibe coding a little bit later in the stream. Okay, let me bring up my show notes. There are a few things I do want to talk about. And for those of you who missed it, the last time I was streaming, I was celebrating having lost 50 pounds. So I think I'm actually a little bit thinner even than the last stream. So hopefully I can keep this up. I have posted some pictures of the weight I'm targeting, which is the way I used to weigh it a decade ago. And I was actually complimented. Someone said I was posting thirst traps. I thought, I think that posting thirst traps is a good thing, apparently. Speaking of new lingo, I've noticed everyone saying the word, and I think I know why. It's because of some guy named Clavicular, who just shows up every time I open YouTube. And these terms like something maxing, right? I used that actually as the title of one of my streams. I said I was tablet maxing and nib smashing. And so, what is the phrase I heard somewhere on Twitter? Gesture maxing. So I love slang. I love the development of slang and new words. Another phrase, I can't say the exact source of where I learned it, is saying the phrase something like, yo, that's cap, which means, I think that means you are not being serious. You are, I think it could mean you're lying also. So that's another. Looks maxing, yes, that's it, looks maxing. I love how language evolves. I absolutely do love how language evolves. So cap and no cap. So no cap means, that's cap. When you have cap, it means you're lying or not serious, I think. And no cap, it's a weird inversion. No cap means you're being serious. Okay, that's another phrase I've learned. I can't wait for Thanksgiving when my family gets together. I'm gonna be slang maxing with my family, and I'm in my 50s, and they're probably just gonna be laughing quite a bit at my silliness. Okay, let me check the Discord real quick. Okay. No cap, live big. He says that. You gotta say, I once read, this is quite a bit of time ago, and I'm sensitive to this. I'll tell you why in a second. It was a line, it was on Reddit, I'm sure it was on Reddit. It wasn't like some, scholarly article, and it was, I guess, from the perspective of someone who's young, which would mean anyone, I would guess in their 20s. And it said something like, nothing, I am not remembering it exactly, but it was like, nothing makes you seem as, rooted in the past or old-fashioned or old as your insistence on using slang or lingo or words that are out of date. Okay? And that hit me pretty hard because I habitually use slang that is out of date. Like crazy out of date. Okay, I'll give you an example. I used to greet people by saying, "How's tricks?" How is tricks? How's tricks? And it's actually some people were like, "What are you saying?" Like I don't think they were offended. They were just like, there were something about that alarmed them in some way. And so, "How's tricks?" is a really old way of saying what's up. But here, tricks can mean other things. You probably know what I'm talking about. But habitually, I will, say things a little bit older. Partly because I grew up on very old TV and movies, so a lot of that lingo is still in my head, if that makes any sense. It'd be if someone said like, "Gee willikers." Like that's not a thing that is said today, even though you might have heard it in a TV show like Dennis the Menace or something. That show, by the way, was in black and white. Okay, so that's how long ago that is. Even as Gen Z, I still don't understand some slang. Yeah, slang comes and goes fast. It comes and goes really fast, and you have to keep observing people and who's talking, and if I understand correctly, there are two sources in English in the United States. There's two sources of language innovation in the United States. It's young women and the African American community. That's where new words and phrases and formulations come up with all the time. And so I love hearing about how those two communities, their words come into how we normally speak. Adam West, I have never heard tell of that. It's lots of good slang out there. But you have to be careful. Some of this slang, you have to be very careful because it can, if you don't know what it means, you might get yourself in trouble. Okay, where are my show notes? And let me raise my volume in my ears here. There we go. There we go. And I think the volume is not too loud for you. Good. Okay, let's take a quick look at my let me see. Okay, so here, let's bring up the topics here. I'll just show you the notes so that it's not. Let's see, I think this is it, right? Yeah. So these are my show notes for 2026-02-17. So we will talk a little bit about AI coding. And this is really like what I've observations and learnings. We're going to talk about a new update for the Moving Wacom Moving 11. Okay. So basically there are two. Yeah, I'll share the description when I get there. We're going to talk about new EMR pens. This is from a YouTube channel from Kit. I think his name is Kit Betsmasters. I think that's it. Okay. And then we're going to talk about. It's a video. We'll actually watch the video and react to it. Many interesting things in the video. I just do a quick update, which is Canvas Huion, Canvas 22 Gen 3. We'll talk about, putting a question mark there. There's no new status. I just want to talk about where we're at. What else do we have? I'll figure it out. As we get there. Okay. So while we're here and we have the notes, I'll talk about the first topic, which is the Canvas 22 Gen 3. So give me a second. Let me get there. We're going to get to Huion. See this, I never open up Twitter in front of you. I always navigate to a tweet because you never know what Twitter's going to show you. And right now, the first thing it showed me is a scene from this movie called Wuthering Heights, and I'm not sure it's appropriate to show you. So I'm just going to open up Huion's page here. So they said in CES, I believe in January, that they would see a Huion Canvas 22 Gen 3. Still haven't seen it anywhere. Okay? Still haven't seen any. I love this little cat, so I'm going to put this in I'm going to heart this one. Haven't seen any mention of Canvas 22 Gen 3 since they said it. Okay? I will say, since they talk about this Canvas Pro 24 Gen 3, which I have, I made a comment that the screen was a little soft, and I think more and more people are seeing that, though not everyone's commenting on it. So I think my assessment of the softness of the screen was correct. It is a softer screen, and there's two factors for that: the anti-glare etching and probably the higher resolution. Okay, I'm sorry, it's 4K, but it's at 24 inches. 4K at 16 is a very different experience. So that is something I wanted to just bring up and to make sure everyone knew about. Okay, so as soon as I get the Canvas 22, or as soon as I get any information about the Canvas 22 Gen 3, I will actually show you. Okay, now I'll get the tablet. We'll talk about it. We'll do a bit of a live stream. Okay, next is Wacom. Hey, thanks for joining. If you have any questions or any topics you want us to get into, Salong, please just let us know. This is just a fun, chill stream. We just love to have. I actually want to talk about movies. A couple of months ago, I talked about sci-fi movies, and I wanted, man, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna put in my list fantasy movies, the best fantasy movies. Okay, that's what we're gonna talk about also in this stream. Oh, Lexer, that's a great question. That's a great question. So, oh, Live Big, I'll take a look at it. Thank you. Thank you very much. I will take a look at it then. Let me just answer Lexer's question. And let's see. Oh, I hate this. I don't know why. Okay. Do I think companies will eventually move to OLED in their tablets? Yes, I do. I do. I don't think it's necessarily going to happen fast. And let me tell you how I think it's going to happen. Okay? First of all, I think we would all generally agree OLED screens, you know, they have deeper blacks. Maybe the colors feel more vibrant. Okay? Now, a lot of people are going to tell you, and I'm in that set, don't really notice it that much, or it doesn't really matter when I'm actually drawing. But I can understand why people really like it. I totally get it. I totally get it. Doesn't affect me that much. I don't think OLED right now is driving a lot of people into a tablet. I don't think it's the huge thing for a lot of people. I think it will be. I think the way it'll roll out is, I think OLED is going to come first in your pro, obviously in your pro tablets first, okay? And the reason for that is tablet manufacturers have to justify the cost of the pro tablet. So that's an easy win for them. They get a new OLED panel, and that's now part of what's considered a pro tablet, okay? So it would not surprise me in 5 years. I don't think it's soon, but it would not surprise me in 5 years you see all new pro tablets are OLED, okay? And I think that what that means is for that time, for 10 years, we'll probably still see OLEDs, non-OLEDs, being used in consumer pen displays, okay? Because I just don't think most people need the OLED, right? On top of it, there is still some fear about the longevity of OLED. Now, I know some people say, hey, it's just as long-lasting to LCD. My experience with the LCD has been they're pretty long-lasting. I'm very long-lasting. Exactly, Live Big. This burn-in, you got to get people past that fear, okay? And remember, our use case as digital creatives with pen displays is different from movie watching. You always have, I'm just using this as an example, you always have Clip Studio up with your favorite palettes on the left and on the right and a menu. And that's going to be on if you're spending all day drawing your manga. That's all it's going to show for 12 hours a day. So can an OLED survive that for years and, for a couple of years? I don't know. That's not a normal situation for someone who's watching, using an OLED TV, okay? So the only way we're going to find this out is to see people who are using I actually have it here, the Wacom MoveInk 13 and the Sense Labs Pen Display 16, which is OLED. And we're going to see what they say, right? Alexa said they're getting better at handling it. Before it was burning in 1-2 years, now it's around 3. See, I think, and this is me being unfair, I don't think people want to buy a drawing tablet and feel like they need to replace it because of the screen in 5 years. I don't think, and I tell me if you disagree with me. I'd love to hear it if you disagree with me. I think it is an expectation that a normal person who buys a pen display, because they are more expensive than monitors, for whatever reason, that they last a decade. Okay, that's my honest opinion. Like you should expect a pen display to last 1 decade. Okay. After that, who knows? But you should expect the display to work for a decade. Maybe some people will say it only needs to last 5 years. So when Lexer says Now it's around 3. I think you're getting to a lot of people who are like, oh, I don't know. I just spent almost $1,500 on this 24-inch pen display. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it again. Okay. I don't see that. So that's why I think it's not going to be fast to get into OLEDs. I think it's going to take some time. Now, I understand that even LCDs, I guess, are subject to some amount of wear in their lifetime. But as far as I've ever seen, it's been super minimal. And I have just so everyone knows, you may not know, I have a lot of monitors. Okay. So literally, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 monitors. Not even calling pen displays. These are just monitors in my 2 rooms right here. Okay. There are 4 of them in front of me. I leave these things on 24/7. And the OS never blanks out the screen or goes to sleep. They're just always projecting something. They're always showing, the Mac dock or the Windows taskbar. And I never see any problem. And these monitors I've owned for, I think, I'm looking at the 3 monitors right in front of me. I've owned them for, let's say, 2026. I've owned these monitors for 7 years. Can't see a bit of difference. Okay. So, as far as I expect, these monitors had better last at least 10, if not 15 years. There's no reason for me to get rid of them. Okay. So yeah, I think we're just going to have more time to see how this works. Okay. Now I think someone, Live Big says, I leave Photoshop Illustrator. For hours. Yeah, I'm scared of it. In fact, my moving, remember I told you I never unplug anything, like even pen displays? This pen display I unplug, or I turn it off, because I don't want it to burn in. I don't even want to risk it, right? Maybe eventually micro LED will become more widespread. Yeah. Part of my brain thinks that. So we have LCD, we have OLED. These other technologies like micro LED, maybe they'll come in underneath and sort of take the role that we expected OLED to take, right? Again, I have nothing against OLED. I love the display of my OLED devices, like my Samsung Galaxy Tab S11. But I'm just scared of how they will react to my normal usage scenario, right? Tab S11, it's Android, but I'm usually watching YouTube on it. I'm not drawing the same way I'm drawing with these devices. I'm certainly not leaving images on 24/7 for years like I am on these machines. But yeah, I think it's gonna have. I just think it's gonna be slow. I think it's gonna be slow, right? And frankly, the other thing is, I don't know how much OLED panels cost. Are they that much more expensive still than LCDs? I can't imagine they're that much more expensive now. So there's one more update I want to talk about. Good question, Lexer. Thanks for bringing that up. Before I continue, Live Big says there's an article on Creative Block for the Canvas 22. Okay, so let's take a look at that. Give me a second, I'll get there. Creative Block. Oh, you know what? Another topic I want to talk about. Sorry, before I forget, I want to talk about Discord. The Discord drama. Talk about what it means. I don't want to leave my address. Search for Canvas. Let's do this. Okay, and I'll zoom in. Okay, so it's 2.5K. Let me make it more obvious for you all. So that's good. That's good. 2.5K is good. I think, I love 22 inches as a size. I think it's the perfect size for me. 90 hertz. I know some of you really want a higher refresh rate, so I think that's good. Lexer, the OLEDs are getting cheaper. Okay. Good question, Liebig. Let me copy that, and I will address that in just a second, okay? Super good question. Anything else here? They say clear. I don't know what clarity means. That must mean the higher resolution. So let me just put the, you know, I either I forgot or didn't know about these two things. That's actually very good to know. You gotta have, I think at 22 inches, you need to have at least 2.5K resolution. And let me put the link to that article here, so I have it. Clear formatting. Okay, we answered Lexer's initial question about OLEDs. Live big. Yeah, this is fascinating. Okay, let's talk about this. Do I think Apple would dominate drawing tablet industry if they made their own drawing tablet? Okay. I think, not that I think they'll ever do it, okay? But let's think about it. I think if Apple released they'll never release, you know, per se, a drawing tablet, okay? They'll never release a drawing tablet and call it a drawing tablet, okay? Like, that's never gonna happen. I think what they could release is an iPad which works extremely well as a drawing tablet, as a pen display. Now, I think if it got bigger, meaning 16 inches or, you know, then it's possible people would start using it. Now, the problem is that, like, there's not a market for their audience, I think, for a 16-inch iPad. That's a crazy size, right? So I don't think, you know, I don't think that's ever gonna happen. But if they did, and as long as they had something on par with Wacom in terms of precision, pointer lag, accuracy, tilt compensation, and I think they'd have to have buttons and an eraser. It's got to be like that. It can't be the Apple Pencil. I think a lot of people would be drawn to that. Just the brand alone, the name alone would draw. If you had a Mac, for example, and they had an Apple drawing tablet, you'd get the Apple drawing tablet, right? Because you're probably thinking there'd be some really deep integration between that and your Mac. So I don't know the numbers. I do think creatives still, by and large, well, at least a big chunk of them still use Mac OS. I don't know if that's still true. Yeah, Cube, that's right. I don't think they can rely on this, their Apple Pencil protocol, which I think is based on AES, which is capacitive. I don't think that would be good enough. I think if you ever use a drawing tablet, half those people do not like how the Apple Pencil works. Like, I merely tolerate it. I don't like it. I can deal with it. Some people love it. Lots of people hate it. But yeah, you want to see it implemented like EMR, which we're going to talk about EMR actually in Kit's video on the new EMR pens. But yeah, I think it'd be huge. But it would have to be it'd have to be compatible with Windows machines too. But again, they'll never do it. They'll never do it. I don't think they think of it as an interesting enough market for them, right? Like, keyboards, sure. Mice, sure. Because everyone's got to have one, right? You might as well get one that matches the logo of your computer. But very few people have drawing tablets, right? It's a niche device. And those who have the need to draw on something will just use their iPads, right? That's why I think they'll never do it. But look, the good news is we do know something. They have done it. They have. Did everyone know this? I bet people didn't know this. I'll show it to you. let me find it first. Apple drawing tablet from 1980s. Let's see. Or you guys will like this. That trackpad is quite nice. It is quite nice, and yes, it's a very niche device. That's a good point. So this is actually Apple's first drawing tablet from 1979. By the way, I was 8 years old when this came out. What do you notice? It's still got a wire to the pen, which was the fashion in those days. Probably low resolution. If I understand, this was actually the technology's from another company, and they rebranded it as an Apple, right? But yeah, they've done it, and it didn't go anywhere. I just wanted to show you this. Not many people are aware of this one because this is very old compared to what we're used to. Yeah, 1979. Which reminds me, I'm just gonna put in 1979 sci-fi. BR. BR means something, which you'll see in just a minute. Okay. Hey, good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, that's right. Actually, it is from before Wacom was founded. Wacom was what, 1984, 85, something like that? Because they just celebrated their 40th year. Their standalone trackpad, again, if I didn't mention already, is quite nice. I tried experimenting with it, but it's just not for me. I'll try it again. Okay. So, I just want to do this one update from Wacom. For those of you who have a Moving 11, I assume this is also going to happen to the Moving 13. Sorry, Moving Pad. Moving Pad. Wacom. Where's Wacom? Okay. Yeah, we have a new tweet from them. So, just to show you this, you get more trial software. So we should talk about what these are. 3 months of Magma Blaze, okay, and not many people have heard of Magma maybe, so we'll talk a little bit about it. And Artwad Core. I've never heard of Artwad Core. I thought Artwad was just a YouTube channel. So let's take a look at Artwad Core. Artwad Core. Is that right? Artwad Core. So it's not an app. It looks like Artwad is a. I'm just showing you this. It's like a teaching thing, right? About learning digital art. So this is actually, I think this is actually a great idea because you know I answer a lot of questions about drawing tablets. Lots of people get a drawing tablet at the very same moment they're trying to get into digital art. So this is cool. This is actually a good synergy between a device you're likely to get as a beginner, Moving Pad 11, and you have an interest in, you're just getting started in digital art. So I think that's a really great move. But yeah, apparently this is actually less intended to be a painting app than an actual tool, an app to help you learn how to do things. So I think that's actually a great idea. Wacom's founding was 1983 with the first. Oh, got it. Thank you for clarifying. Yeah, Moving Pad 11 is a fantastic tablet. In fact, I've loved my Moving Pad Pro 14. I've recently started using my Moving Pad 11 just because the Moving Pad Pro 14 is so big. Sometimes you just need something small, right? Let's see. So what was the other app? Magma Blaze. Everyone now, Ryan in our Discord is part of the Magma team, which I forgot I need to do an interview with him and someone else on the team. Magma.com. Okay, I'll make it a little bit bigger so people can see. So let's go ahead and just click on pricing. So this is an online tool to draw, okay? And you can see, you can create a canvas and multiple people can draw on at the same time if you want that to happen, right? So it's not just for collaboration, drawing simultaneously, but you can use it for that also. And there's several different magmas here. Spark is their free tier, and free actually you get to do a lot, right? You can have 30 users per drawing, 4K canvas, 60 layers. It's actually pretty, for free, that's pretty good. And then Blaze means more users, larger canvas, just more of everything. And then Fusion looks like for groups, like studios, okay? Now I've used Magma a little bit in this channel. I've created like a canvas and people have drawn together. Just a doodle as I talk. So I think this is good. And I think Magma is a very interesting idea. I need to use it more. So it's a trial for how much? Magma Blaze. So that's this middle one, right? So it'll save you $30. And I think you should try it out. Okay. Lexer says, I used it for a New Year collab, drawing multiple people drew small things on it. Yeah, it can be very fun. Well, like I said, we did it one time on the stream. Everyone was just drawing things as I was chatting, and I'd periodically look in and see what people were doing. Okay. Oh, yeah, one more thing I want to talk about is Wacom. Just, not everyone saw this, so I want to make sure people do see it. So I created a page. Oh, and my inventory, 7 pens inventory. Okay. So I created a page, which is on my stream tools here. So I just want to make sure you see it. Okay. So first is my inventory. So a lot of people ask me, how many tablets do you have? Do you really have as many tablets as you say? And I do. And what I did is I actually created this little tool so you can see my inventory. So just to give you a little tour here, you can see, I'll zoom in to make it a little bit easier to read. Okay. You can see in my, so there's a one tab called tablets, which lists all my tablets. I have 117 of them. Okay. And if you want to know how many Wacoms do I have? Well, right here it says showing 117 of 117. Click on Wacom. I have 76 Wacom tablets. It's a lot. Over half my collection is Wacom. And how many Wacom pen displays do I have? I have 12 of them, right? So, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, why does it have brand here? Why do I have two brands? Oh, this is for, oh, this is sort by. I see. And then you can go to pens and see the same thing, right? All brands, all types. Okay. I have 141 pens. Okay. You can see exactly which pens. You see a lot of them are assigned an inventory ID so I can track them. Same with tablets, they're assigned an inventory ID. So sometimes people just ask, and I get tired. I got so tired of looking it up in the Excel file, I just decided to put it as a JSON file in a Git repo and create this GitHub Pages doc for it so everyone can just see what I have and it'll be kept up to date. You can even see when I ordered the tablet, right? And who I ordered it from. So for example, I'll need to add the sorting by vendor, but you can see I've ordered it from Amazon. I've ordered different tablets from Amazon, Huion, eBay, lots from eBay, Sense Labs, B&H. So basically I order from Amazon a lot, I don't know, half the time, and then half from eBay and the other half from the manufacturer directly. Okay, so that was one tool I wanted everyone to see. I'm going to put this in the chat just in case people want to take a look. And then the other tool is where is it? I did do a very brief tour, if you look at my YouTube channel, where I just walked around for about, I don't know, I think 1 minute. But I need to do a more detailed review. That is for sure. What do I want here? I want tools. I want... Oh yeah, Wacom pen tablet compatibility. So this is a partial list based on Wacom's published documentation as well as Cube spreadsheet. And basically, if you ever have a Wacom tablet and you want to know which pen it uses or it's compatible with, this will tell you. You can view it like this. So this means, for example, all these tablets are compatible with all these pens. Or you can view it as by tablet, right? Or you can view it even by pen, right? Or you can even view it by ungrouped, so it's just by pairs. And just to make it easy, I added, let's look at this. Suppose you have the Wacom Moving 13. Which pens are compatible? All these. You need to email it to somebody or to yourself. Just hit copy and type in Notepad. And, oops, let's bring Notepad here. And then paste it. So you'll know exactly which tablets with which pens. Okay? So just want to make sure you know. Now, I only have Wacom here. I'm not sure if I'm going to add Huion and XP Pen. Right now, I'm just leaving it as Wacom. I may in the future do Huion XP Pen. But to be honest, I don't think we know as much about compatibility with Huion and XP Pen as we do about Wacom. Okay, and then I got those out of the way. We got this out of the way. Okay, we're gonna do a quick watch of a video from a guy named Kit Betmasters. Let me find the link. It's in my Discord. Where is it? This was earlier this afternoon, and we'll actually watch it. We'll actually watch it and just see how it all works. Okay, let's find it. Copy link. I'm going to paste it here. Now I want to make sure the audio gets to you, so give me a second. Oops, the audio is not getting to you. Let's first make sure the audio is... I think this will do it. Okay. So you got to give me a second to make this happen.
Still ahead and...
Okay. Almost there, almost there.
E-Ink is ahead as well.
Okay, I think you can hear it. Maybe a little bit too loud, so I'm going to turn down the volume. And I think I'm going to maybe 1.5 speed it. So we're not having to wait 30 minutes for this video. And I'll skip ahead as needed. Okay. So the title of this video is why Wacom Pentech is still the best. There's some interesting tidbits here I wanted to show it to you.
EMI is still ahead and E-Ink is ahead as well. Designed in Tokyo. A great question there, Phil. What do I think about the remarkable move? Why is that not in there? I think it was...
That may be a little bit too fast. Let's try 1.25. So in front of him, he's got some E-Ink tablets, and he's at some trade show where he's looking at other pens, and he's come back and he's showing these pens. So I just want to show you what happened. So this is one of the pens he's got here. Okay. Now they all say designed in Tokyo, and there's a brand icon somewhere here that's not quite visible. Now just take a look at the pen though. So let's let this video play.
This mystery designer is, and there's some really good ones. They've got these clever buttons.
There's a button there, and look at this tip though. And some of these tips are actually
that sort of half press and then full press. So they've got actually the two buttons within one. There's a range of them. There's the one that most of them are ceramic nibs. These ones have magnetic attachments. These are the black.
Did you hear what he just said? Most of them have ceramic nibs. That's interesting.
The white one, they've got that same sort of half press and then full press.
Now a lot of these pens, he just said they have one physical button, but it has two presses. There's I forgot what he called them, half press and full press. Now in the examples, he's going to demonstrate what happens, at least in the app on the E-Ink reader. Those are used for two different kinds of erasing styles. So a little bit different from what we'd expect. Now, what I'm hoping is all these pens are actually UD EMR pens. He doesn't say that. He doesn't use this terminology. UDMR would theoretically mean you would be able to use these with, let's say, a Wacom 1 tablet. Okay, so that's what I'm hoping. But these pens look good. I'm excited by the idea that they have a special kind of button handling. They have ceramic nibs, and there's more coming here, which is kind of wild.
Button on the side. There's a clicky pen, and then there's one of these nicely designed. If you saw the clicky pen, it's a nice clicky pen. You know, I've got the feeling of like zebra type things. And then also, and actually this has been my favorite, this one is the palm nib, which I really like a lot. And it's the same design in Tokyo badge there.
So notice all these pens look like more traditional pens. So, you know, I think they are intended for an e-ink kind of use to make it feel more natural.
So we will see on these ones, and the half press and the full press do different things depending on how it's set up in the apps that you're using. So I really do like that.
Okay. I'm here with Cal Gang from Wacom, and
okay, so this is important. He actually went to a booth at this BETT show, I don't know what it means, in London. And Wacom representatives were there. That's actually important because they're rarely there. Let me turn off the music. That's probably distracting for this video. But that's good because it's rare we get a chance to hear Wacom actually talk about things. And they actually talked about something I did not expect them to talk about in this video. So we'll get to that.
brand Miro Create, who's a UK reseller, and well, as you know, Wacom make amazing EMR pens used in our very favourite e-ink tablets like the Supernote Manta, but they've got a lot to show me, including something really interesting, which I think could be the future of assessment, actually, just having thinking about it just now. Been wondering about this kind of bridge between paper and AI assessment, really, and I think you might have a really, really good idea here. But I want to have a little look through just some of the different things. On my channel, we know the Supernote well, we know all its different controls, but they've got a whole lot of different pens and things, and I'm going to sit down and show the different pens, different EMR pens that they have on offer.
Now, one thing that struck me and throughout this video is how responsive everything seemed. I don't know why that is. They seem more responsive than I'd expect. Okay, like I didn't see, at least to my eyes, I didn't see a lot of pointer lag. So that's something that's quite interesting to me. Let me just catch up on some of the comments. Dixon Marshall, I have 6 Wacom tablets, including 3 Intuos, 3 small, medium, large. Intuos Pro Touch, small, medium, large, and Cintiq. That's a lot of Wacom tablets. That probably puts you in the upper, like, having that amount puts you probably in the upper 1%, or, of Wacom users in terms of number of tablets. Art pens, increasingly rare, and airbrushes. Oh, okay. Anyone who has an airbrush is definitely in the upper 0.1%. When I say that, I mean just how common it is what they have. Let's see. Slim pens for each pen. I recently switched back to Intuos Pro Touch Medium from the Cintiq. Yeah, it's a very common thing, people going back to pen tablet from a pen display. And Live Big says, I'm a suck for different pen shapes and different nibs, so it's pretty exciting. Yeah, I am excited. I just wonder when I can try one of these out. And again, will it work on a Wacom 1? That's my question. And if it works on a Wacom 1, theoretically it would work on a Samsung Galaxy Tab S, right? Would it be rude for him to ask when Pro Pen 3 is going to be compatible with older tablet? Yeah, Joggy, I'm so glad you're here. They'll never answer that question. They'll just never, wait a second. I have a little joke about this. Oh, Cube, you are definitely, you are in the like 0.0000101 percentile of Wacom tablet users. I can't imagine between you and me there are many other people that have as many. Though I do think I have the most in the world, to be quite honest. I do think I have the biggest Wacom collection in the world. At this point, I think the only entity that might have more than me is Wacom. And I'm not entirely sure they actually have all their old tablets. Okay, I want to show you something because it's actually related to what Joggy here has said. So give me a second. I made a post a couple of weeks ago or days ago. I even made a little video about it. Oh, let's see. Hang on. You can't see what I'm doing, so just give you a second. From 7 pens and yeah, I found it. Okay, here we go. So, oh man, let me download this because I just don't know what's going to happen if I try to play it in Discord. Okay, so the title of this video, which I downloaded and kind of edited just very slightly to remove some beginning and ending. It's the title of this video, or the setup of this video is, this is how Wacom would respond to somebody if you ask them, when will they make the Pro Pen 3 compatible with older tablets? Because they said that on Twitter in 2022. They said that multiple times, okay? They even wrote a document about that, or it was part of a document, okay? So they're on record as saying they would do it. They tweeted several times saying, yep, it's coming in an update. But if you ask them about it now, this is the response you're gonna get. Give me a second.
It never happened. You're mistaken. Wrong.
False.
Sorry.
Not this time.
Totally made up.
It never happened.
Not this time. It's fiction.
Okay, we'll do it again.
We made this one up.
It never happened. You're mistaken. Wrong.
False.
Not this time.
Totally made up.
It never happened.
Not this time. It's fiction. We made this one up. Not this time. No way. It's fiction. It's a made-up tale. It never happened. Not this time. You're wrong. We made up this one. It's a fake. It never happened. It's false. Not this time. We got you. It never happened. It's fiction. Not
Okay,
this time.
you get
You're wrong.
the idea. There's like a minute and a half of Jonathan Frakes doing that little skit, but like they just never mention it. They just never mention it. Oh, definitely Cube. No one has WT tablets. Yeah, 2 of them. Yeah, not happening. I was watching a stream from someone who works at Wacom when they were showing older tablets. And yeah, I don't even think they have the WTs. I don't think they know they exist because it's, 40 years ago or something, right? And it's probably just wiped from their memory. So I don't believe. Oh, Charlie Martian's joined us. Organizations forget. Organizations forget. With all those tablets, the only thing left is a Wacom logo lower back. No, we're not getting one of those tattoos. How about a Wacom tribal tattoo? Right? A tribal tattoo. I like that's funny, Charlie. They would give the same answer if you asked them when they're going to bring barrel rotation. Yeah, that's true. They would probably just. By the way, I know I have some. I know there are at least one person I think from Wacom who's aware of my channel and my videos. We love you. We love you. I'm just jester maxing, okay? But we do want that backward compatibility, and we do want barrel rotation back. We do want that back, and don't know why they won't give it to us. Here's what I'm hoping. I know this sounds. I'm just hoping that they are planning to do it. It's just taking longer than expected. Okay. I'll tell you one thing and I can't find the. So I read. Have you ever heard of a site called Hacker News? Okay. It's pretty popular if you're like a developer or want to do a startup or something. But there was someone had posted a question, or no, they'd posted an article, a link to their own site, which talked about building. It seemed like that what do you call it? That LC circuit that has that ferrite rod and the coil and all that. They talked about building that, like just manually. And they had said something curious, and I have no idea if it's true. They said that this kind of specific rod, this building of this thing, was getting really expensive these days. Okay. Now the reason I bring this up, now I have no idea if that's true. Okay, and the supply was limited. Maybe he was saying, again, no idea if it's true, but it made me think. that if you go into, we know Cube has a picture of one of the older art pens. It's called the marker pen, actually, art marker pen. It actually has two of those in the pen. Okay, I can't tell you if the new art pen has it, but it made me think if there are two of them and that component is expensive for whatever reason, could the cost be the issue why they're not releasing one? Because the Pro Pen 3 already costs $130 for reasons I don't know. Is that what's happening? Like they just can't source enough of those things, those, the components for that ferrite core and that inductor coil. Is that what the reason is? The cost is too prohibitive for them to build a new art pen? Unclear to me. For those of you who are who know more electronics, I'd love to know if you've heard anything about shortages or expense in building these kinds of devices. Will Android tablets, XP Pen, MDP, Welcome Moving Pad have future updates? Galbus, great question. And the answer is Wacom said they are planning an update for the Moving Pad Pro 14. I do not recall them saying anything specific about the Moving Pad 11. And they have not given a date for the update for the Moving Pad Pro 14. And as for XP Pen, already for their Magic Drawing Pad 2024 edition, they're saying, hey, no updates. And I believe that's the stance, even though I haven't read anything. That's probably their stance for the MDP 2025. So not a great story. And that's another reason you have to be really careful in getting these tablets, right? Right now, only the Moving Pad Pro 14 is the only tablet where a manufacturer said, we are going to do an update. But they have not provided a timeline. And they have not said how long those updates, the new Android versions, will come. So, I think in the future, whenever we talk about these standalone drawing tablets, that has to be made more clear, because the issue here is, and this happened actually with the the Magic Drawing Pad 2024 edition. So it is stuck on Android 12, which is fine. However, Clip Studio Paint 4.0, the latest version, requires Android 14. So now you can't use that with the XP Pen Magic Drawing Pad 2040. So you see the problem, right? Like if Clip Studio Paint's what you are subscribing to, then suddenly you can't use the latest version with, and I don't know if you have a subscription, can you actually use an older version, right? So it's a mess. Galvos, I like the 2025 one. It's actually totally fine. The tilt is, you got to deal with the weird tilt. Charlie's back in the Wacom camp. The Cintiq 24 Touch is incredible. Good to hear. It is a great tablet. It is a great tablet. I bought some DDR in December, and the same RAM is now $400. Yeah, it's a bad time to buy anything. I'm glad I got all my buying out of the way last year. Like I have so many mini PCs and computers, and they all either have 32 gigabytes of RAM or they have 164, or one of them has 128 and one has 196 gigabytes of RAM. Don't ask me why. So I'm good for RAM. I don't have any problems, but I feel bad that in an era where we really need more RAM, it's prohibitively expensive. I also read that the Steam box is on hold because of the availability of memory prices are going to stay high. Oh, that's all I needed to hear. Like, I don't care for myself because my buying is done, but lots of people are getting digital art, and I've always recommended these mini PCs. The one I was recommending was sometimes on sale for $475 with 32 gigabytes of RAM, which is a great deal. Now it's $600, right? And it may not sound like much to some people, but that's a huge deal, because what that would have meant is you get, for that same amount of money, you could have got a pen display and that mini PC, right? Sell half your RAM and buy a house. Who needs 128 gigabytes? Yeah, to be honest, I'm totally fine with my 64 gigabyte machines. 32 gigabytes machines. But it does just kind of feel nice to have at least 64. Careful saying that, mate. Someone who probably also steals Pokemon cards might break up your RAM sticks. I have a lot of RAM. I would have to tally it up. I might have a good portion of a terabyte of RAM. I mean, just between all my machines, honestly. I have a lot of machines. Actually, let me add it. Well, I won't do it right now. Actually, maybe I will. Okay. So I have 32 plus 32 plus 64 plus 64 plus 32 plus 96 plus 128 plus 32. These are all my computers, okay? Plus 192. How much is that total? I'm missing some. I'm missing quite a few. Oh, I have another 32. Put another. Okay, how much is that? Okay, in total. I mean, I have more than this, but across all my devices, I have 704 gigabytes of RAM. But the one that has the most is 192, which that machine is sitting in a corner unpowered, by the way. And the 128 gigabyte machine is in another office, and it's dedicated for playing Far Cry 5. That's all I do with it. One day I'll explain to you why I have so many machines. But actually, I'll say it right now. Some of these I draw with. Some of these oh, sorry, you can't see my numbers. I guess it doesn't matter. Some of them I use development on with. Some of them I use Linux. So rather than reinstalling all the time, I prefer to have multiple small things. With these $500 mini PCs, it's easy to have multiple of them, right? Okay, let's get back to this video. And
Alpha today as well. But what about
Oops, gotta make sure you see the video. There we go.
this one? So what's this device?
This is Chinese education.
Yeah.
Its name is Monkey Smarto Tablet. I know.
Okay. Pressure sensitive eraser, which is really quite cool.
This is the eraser.
Light pressure and then heavier pressure.
Yeah,
Back on
you
it.
have very.
Okay, so did you see that? This is a standalone eraser, which is pressure sensitive to 4,000 pressure levels. Now, this is weird, but I like it. I like it a lot. I love the idea of having a separate eraser. Like, I don't, here, let me find a pen with an eraser here. Give me a second. I don't know if I have one. Yeah, here's a pen with an eraser. If I'm drawing, I despise doing this because the pen flips out of my hand. I'm just clumsy. I despise doing that, okay? I'd be willing to spend the money to try an eraser that's standalone, like this, right? This is some innovation, right? Is it crazy? Yes. Maybe people will hate it. I don't know. Would I be willing to spend money to get it? Absolutely. Absolutely. Will you come back to cover Canvas 22? My question distracted you. Yeah, sure. Absolutely, Livig. Absolutely.
Your 4K eraser. Yeah,
I want this
this
so
one
badly.
is just like it.
Oh, so that's a Monkey again, yeah? Cool, yeah?
This is the LCD tablet.
It's a reflective LCD.
Okay, so the previous ones were e-ink, and this is LCD. Now, by the way, if I want to go back for a second, one thing you'll notice is the drawing seemed pretty low
This is the
latency.
LCD tablet.
It's and then heavier pressure.
Yeah,
Back on-
by Japanese or others. And then it can make a
Okay, let's see. Here's... Okay, now this section is weird because normally Wacom does not really talk about the technology. Like they don't... If you were to look in their user manuals from like 1980s, they tell you the technology and how it works and all that. Because back then it was like you had to know electronics or something, right? Or it was expected you might be interested. The new world we're in, everyone just treats devices like this as magic, okay? So Kit actually got into a discussion about the tech. And so Wacom talks about it. Yeah, it does look pretty fast, doesn't it? So I don't know what's going on there. It's a lower, maybe it's just a trick of the eyes of the camera, but it looked really low latency. Okay, so let's take a look at what they say. And we'll elaborate here.
Is that the EMR
sensor. Yeah,
sensor? So that's the sensor that's inside the EMR tech.
Yes.
Okay.
I say number should be here.
Is that underneath all of these tablets?
Yes.
Okay, so I've never seen ever this. Sorry, I mean, I have seen it, but I've never seen Wacom talk about this. Okay, and we can see some interesting things here, actually. Number one, we notice that it actually says the word Wacom on this PCB, and it says Wacom on this chip. So this is clearly Wacom technology, Wacom's intellectual property, right? By implication, this PCB and this, what do you call this? Yellow, orange thing. It's another kind of PCB, I guess. I don't know, just don't know what you call it. I guess it's a more flexible material and much thinner, which I guess you would need for these kind of devices. So I would expect that all of this is Wacom. And what they're doing is they're providing this, I guess, to either they're having these produced and then shipping, Wacom is building them physically and they're being used by these tablet manufacturers, or they're licensed and I guess they might be, I'm not sure what's going on here, okay? But Wacom rarely talks about these things. Memodraw, good to see you. I tried doodling on Supernote e-ink. It felt very responsive. See, this video actually made me think about getting an e-ink tablet now because it just looks so cool. Okay, so everyone knows what you're seeing. Let me explain. These are the, this is the sensor. This is the thing that actually detects, it sends power to the pen, the yellow part, and it gets a signal back from the pen. And then this, I guess this controller senses what's happening here and can determine the position, the tilt, and the pressure of the pen. Okay. Now I got to tell you what struck me here is this seems to be just this, meaning I expected more. I thought that, well, I guess the simplest way of me explaining this is I thought more chips were involved. So there's the fact that there's only one is kind of surprising to me, right? Maybe this is not everything, but this is what it is. Okay, let's continue. Cube says they get referred to as FPCB or FPC, F for flexible. Okay, got it. Now, I don't know, maybe you do know, Cube, but in the tablets we use, they don't use this flex PCB, right? They just use this green PCB, this rigid thing, right? I wonder if there's an advantage to having, I don't know what they use. I don't know if I've cracked one open in a while. But as far as I know, all these tablets still use these kind of printed circuit boards.
Yes.
This is the grid that essentially, this grid has alternating current. And then when this coil comes near, it generates a field in the coil. Yeah. And that, if you like.
Okay, now he said something about the grid generating a field, all that. Now they actually talk a little, and we're going to go into it, but they don't go very super deep. And I think actually at certain part, it's kind of misleading what is said. So I just want to make sure, give me a second. I'm going to find my video. I made a video back in 2022 about how EMR works. So let me find, I'm going to paste it in.
Yes.
This is the grid. That's the essentially, this grid has
this is the coil. So it's the schedule and energy.
Oops. Okay, hang on. 7 pins, EMR. Okay. I just want to make sure you see this video because this is one of the first videos I actually made on the channel, by the way. Pen tablets are regular PCBs, but I'm not sure what pen display. Good point. I would expect they'd be thin. Let me paste this in. So this is my video on EMR. It gives you the basics of how EMR works. It talks about position, tilt. I just pasted in the chat. Position, tilt, pressure sensitivity, and how the buttons work and how the communication works. As far as I know, it's the most detailed video on EMR tech ever. I will say one thing. In the video, how can I say this? The video that I linked here, and I'll show you the picture of it so you're not confused what we're seeing. It's this video. If you use a graphics, this video describes how pressure works, okay? And by the way, the theory of this video is pretty simple. I actually start from, I'm going to show you just a second of it. I actually start from this light bulb, okay? This is a circuit diagram. I think that's what these are called, about a light bulb. This is a light bulb, and this is direct current here. I start from this picture, and step by step, I convert it into a pen and drawing tablet, okay? So if it'll build up your knowledge, and you don't, if you already know how this stuff works, it's probably too simple for you, but I think for a lot of you, it is something you've probably never seen before. Now, in this video, I am showing how pressure works, how pressure is detected, and this it's a certain older method. Modern EMR pens use a slightly different method, a better method. They actually have a pressure sensor. This uses, it's hard to explain without watching the full video, but in short, this uses some very different way of sensing pressure than a modern EMR pen. So I just want you to be aware of that. I will revise this video maybe this year to show both ways and incorporate some things I've learned over the past couple of years and get some better graphics, etc. But if you really want to learn how EMR works, this is the video I think you should watch. And if you have anything you'd like me to correct or add to it, I'd be more than happy to do that. Memory Draw says, I imagine for thin portable tablets, having soft, flexible board would make it less likely to break. That's what I would think, right? It'd be better. I suppose these flexible PCBs are more expensive than the non-flexible kind. Okay, let's keep on watching.
Yeah, so I just need to make sure it's focused. So this, in the top of the pen, you can just see a coil. See the orange thing there?
Okay, so he just said you can see the coil. It's a little fuzzy here, but this is, inside here will be a little ferrite rod with a hole through it where the nib goes. And around the rod is this coil of wires, copper wire. And these wires here send the signal here, which is received by the coil, that powers the pen very briefly, I don't know, I'm making up the number, but 1/100th of a second, actually less than that. And then that powers the circuitry just enough for this thing to send another signal back to the tablet. And from that, lots of things can be detected, okay? And there's also some additional circuitry in most pens to send pressure information. Now, the thing that's striking about this is, again, Wacom never discusses this. They don't like, for some strange reason, they just don't want to talk about this tech. I don't know why, okay? I don't know why. So the fact that we're seeing it in the video, the fact that the Wacom tech brought this, this was not Kit bringing it, was stunning to me, right? Uh, 2D Animax has a question. I saw many people ask about spare USB-C cable for the pen tablets. If you cannot get a cable from the same tablet brand, what are the alternative tablet cables and what specifications? So it's very simple. And as I always tell people, 7pens has a page for everything, okay? A page for everything. So 2D Animax, I'm going to paste in a link here. I actually paste in 2 links. The first link's the second. I just want to make sure you have both. Okay? So the short answer is any USB 2.0 cable that supports power and data. You don't need a lot, just a little bit. Almost any USB-C cable, any USB-C cable that you find will support enough power and data for this. You just got to verify they support data as well as power. So lots of phone charging cables don't support data, obviously. The second thing is the cable has to fit, okay? And some ports in a tablet are recessed. Pen tablets usually don't have that anymore. So just make sure it'll fit in there. But I never use the tablet's built-in cable, or the cable that comes with the tablet. I never use it. I always just use this cable. This is a monoprice, I believe, cable, right? And the only reason I use it is because it's blue. Because I use blue cables for indicating USB 2.0. And it's not high speed. It just supports just enough power, enough data. It's super cheap. And it fits in most pen tablets, and that's what I use. Okay, and it comes in different lengths. Nothing special about it at all. Okay.
And then that, when it gets close to the magnetic field created by the AC current in here, that's going to generate its own little current, which is therefore going to be interact with that magnetic field, change the current in the lines, I guess, yeah? So you have a different current in the vertical and horizontal line.
So everything he said is totally accurate. He's saying it pretty quickly, but he's gotten it totally correct. He's going to say something in a minute or soon where it's a little misleading. We'll talk about that.
Wherever the pen arrives. If it's closer, it's a bigger distortion. If it's pressed harder, it's a bigger distortion. It's
Okay, so he said something there which is not... There are different ways you can interpret it. I don't think it's the best way of explaining it. So he said, as you press harder, there's a bigger distortion. As you press lighter, there's less of a distortion. That's kind of misleading. So I think it's better to get an extra cable and not just an extension. Look, the more things you add up, like more components, the more risk. I think it's not a problem. I have used an extension cable, but realistically, USB-C cables are, you're supposed to not use an extension cable, by the way, for various reasons. I think it's safest just to get an additional full cable, okay? Every little component you add is risk that something's not working correctly, okay? So that's not exactly what happens here, how pressure works. So pressure can be sent back in different ways, first of all. It can be sent back digitally. So if it's sent back digitally, it doesn't change the distortion the way he's talking about it. It doesn't create a bigger distortion. It just encodes the information in the signal. If it's an analog way of saying the pressure, it will not distort something. All it will do is EMR pens will usually encode analog pressure as a change in frequency, okay? So the amount of what he's calling distortion doesn't change at all with pressure. It's either encoded in the signal or the signal's frequency changes. There's no distortion the way he's talking about for pressure. The amount of signal getting to the sensor does change, but not based on pressure, by just distance from the tablet, right? Yeah, and Cube has a great point about USB extensions. Yeah, avoid them as much as possible. I am guilty of using USB extensions a couple of cases, but you have to be very careful. And he points it out, it's because it's a fire hazard issue. So if the cable you start with is transmitting a lot more power, and the cable you extend it with transmits less, or is certified or rated for less, that's a fire hazard, okay? So you got to make sure, I would say it's got to be able to be rated for more power, okay, than the things that are sending or receiving. Like, you just be safe that way. Again, technically they're not recommended. The USB specification doesn't even say they're, I don't think the USB-C specification even allows their existence, right? It doesn't say you can do it, but people have done it. I have used it in certain limited cases, but I try to avoid them.
It's incredibly clever, isn't it? Why is the EMR?
HDMI extension cables are fine. They don't transmit power. You're totally fine with HDMI extensions, but not with USB-C extensions. Just want to make sure that was clear. Okay.
So much more accurate than capacitive, for example. I really like this one, by the way. This is a lovely feeling screen, and I've really, I've been surprised. Incredibly
go back to
clever, isn't it? Why is the EMR tech so much more accurate than capacitive, for example? I really like.
Okay, so he asked a great question, which is, why is the EMR tech more accurate than capacitive? So the presumption in the question is EMR tech is more accurate. Like that's the built-in assumption in the question, right? He presumes that is the truth. I think that is the truth. I believe that is the truth, absolutely. I have never actually I don't know of any data that literally shows that. I 100% believe it, but I couldn't say, oh, here's a test you can do that shows you EMR is more accurate than capacitive. Like, I don't have enough knowledge or background or data that either I've collected or anyone else has collected. But if someone does have something there, let me know. Again, I'm going to tell you one more time. I 100% believe what he's saying. I think he's completely accurate, but I don't have the data to sort of conclusively show you that. Another option for the 3-in-1 cable extension is you can extend the HDMI part. You can extend the power part. Find a plug that's close, a wall socket that's closer to you where you need to be, and then the data part. There might be other techniques you can use, actually. Like, for example, I have done this where, and then not with a 3-in-1 cable, but like sometimes I have my monitor, which is a USB hub, connected to my computer, and I plug in a tablet to my monitor. I mean, just for data, right? So that's another option for you, as opposed to running 3 extension cables from the USB-C. But I have done what you're doing, which is extend from a 3-in-1. But the best is not to need to do that. So again, going back to this video, he's asking what explains that EMR has better accuracy. Live big, 100%. ProPen 2, I still rate over ProPen 3 for a number of reasons. The most technical of reasons is based on the measurements that Cube has done, as well as feedback from other people and their lived experience with the pen. ProPen 2 has a lower IAF. That's number one. Some people don't share that opinion, but many people do. Number 2 is really ergonomics and issues around the pen. The ProPen 3 can often, it unscrews easily. Some people just don't like the way the buttons feel. I totally get it. I still think the ProPen 2 is the king. It's the GOAT.
This one, by the way, this is a lovely feeling screen, and I've been surprised how much I like that one. Yeah, so why is the EMR tech so much more accurate than a capacitive screen?
So EMR sensor is a appropriate layouts, and so
it's about how many lines per inch. So, yeah. So I think, as far as I'm aware, capacitive on like a phone only has one sensor per like pixel, whereas the touch.
So this part of the video gets a little confusing because they're talking about lines per inch, and then he was pointing at the wires and the coils in this flexible PCB. So we got to tease out these two different concepts for a second. We'll talk about that.
It is like thousands of lines per inch, isn't it?
No.
So actually, let me rewind that just a second because I cut it off at an answer. Listen to what he asks and the guy responds.
Sensor per like pixel, whereas the touch grid is like thousands of lines per inch, isn't it?
No. So EMR proxies are very distributed in some area, and so calculate the number of coils from number of coils, so very accurate coordinates down.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me try to get the picture back there. What Kit said was, it's because it has thousands of lines, like physical lines in this thing, and that's why it's more accurate. That's what he's saying, and the guy just immediately responds, no. He just says no. And then it's a little bit unclear because I don't think he's mic'd up so well. But I'm trying to summarize what he's saying. What he's saying is there are not thousands of lines here, right? If I look here, I would guess there's less than 100, okay? Vertically and horizontally, there's less than 100, okay? So it's in the tens of lines. Maybe there's 90 lines, okay? Not thousands. Now, so if there's 90 or 100 physical lines up and down, or that kind of number, how did we get at 5,280 lines per inch as the digitizer resolution? Interesting mystery there, right? Physical lines versus the digitizer's line per inch resolution, and what he's saying is that the actual position of the pen is. I'm trying to avoid the word triangulated. That's not the right phrase. When your pen is there, multiple of these lines will register the pen. They'll detect the pen, both horizontally and vertically. And the firmware is looking at this, and it is calculating where the pen's position actually is. Okay. So there is some math that takes this hundreds of lines and says, okay, based on these 5 different readings horizontally and 5 different readings vertically, we know the pen is like, 1 micron in this direction, okay? So it's a much higher resolution that can be detected than the resolution of the literal number of lines in the tablet, right? So that I just want to make sure that was clear, because it got a little confusing in the discussion.
Points from number of points, so very accurate coordinates down.
Yeah, so much more accurate coordinates than a capacitive grid would be. Yeah, I'm.
Now, having said that, he just mentioned the capacitive grid. I don't know how many physical lines a capacitive grid has, and I don't know how many, or if it has lines in the same sense, and I don't know how closely they can resolve a position. So that's kind of an unknown for me. I do believe it's less than EMR.
Sort of surprised by how much I like this daylight paper, I must admit. Yeah, full Androids. It's actually really very readable. I'm still not sure whether it's quite worth the £700 price tag over something e-ink, but actually this is very readable.
Actually, another thing I noticed here is, did you notice how good the scrolling is on this? Like, I really want to get one of these e-ink devices now, honestly.
Of course, very smooth. And yeah, the EMR tech was working well on that. Really, really impressed with that. Okay, cool. So you've got a
I didn't see a lot of ghosting or flickering. It seemed like almost like a black and white Android tablet, right? My original plan would be having to get an HDMI and USB extension, but it certainly seems more annoying than finding it longer. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think there are longer 3-in-1s. So, if there are, ask your tablet manufacturer if there is one. Maybe they have a longer version. I have not heard of that, but it's theoretically possible.
test for me to take then.
Okay.
The IoT, okay? So they're going to give me an exam. We'll try it out.
That's right. Yeah.
To be fair, with capacitive, they only have to detect a finger usually, and fingertips are quite big compared to a pen tip. That's right. That makes sense. They don't need that kind of accuracy for a fingertip.
It's just showing you clever ways to place the magnets to attach them, I guess, to the side.
I have one of these magnet things, whatever it's called. Haven't used it yet. Yeah, not much reason to make a super precise capacitive digitizer.
The devices. Very cool. Thank you. Okay, so they've given me an exam on this, which is, we're calling this the IoT paper, which is very, very clever.
Okay, this is actually kind of interesting. It's not really drawing related, but you should see this.
It's a simple e-ink tablet, yeah? But it's designed so students' assessment can be straight away transferred to a computer, and the AI can then go ahead and mark their work. Yeah, which I think is very clever, really, because we're constantly, wondering about how to replace paper. Thousands of examiners computerify things, and I want to just show you that they're trying to mimic all parts of different exams, so even being able to do geometry. So we've got here a geometry.
Okay, so the scenario here is a student taking a test, right? And he's got, what is this called, a protractor and a ruler. I guess it's a geometry test.
So we can actually make it a geometry exam. So hopefully I'm going to pass this with flying colors. Are you ready? Do I press next?
Yes.
And because I don't have to look at the computer screen, it's going to show it to me on my e-ink in front of me. It's explaining to me exactly how to do it.
So he's writing the answers.
This is really good. Very clever. And this is obviously a very simple test, but actually I could see this. There's no reason why this couldn't be my A-level physics test.
So like the instructions are here, right? And then he puts the answers on the tablet, and then I guess it's recognizing what he's writing and scoring him, etc. I am of mixed thoughts about this. I think it is cool, but I have to tell you honestly, I'm not. I don't know if this kind of advanced tech is really something you want to invest in for students. I haven't really seen a lot of advanced tech pay off in an educational scenario. Maybe this will change it. I mean, I certainly think this is very interesting, but given the limited budget schools have and more fundamental challenges they seem to have with educating students, I don't know if they really need something like this. That being said, one of the ways it seems Wacom wants to grow as a business is getting more in the educational space, right? So, I can see why Wacom is interested in this. If they get a foothold in, every student in the world is doing their tests, and as a student you have lots of tests. That there's a Wacom digitizer or a Wacom license for that digitizer. That's a nice business to be in, I guess, right? Oh, totally Cube. Yeah, this is just the kind of tech that some well-meaning, tech executive would pitch to a school board or in Washington State or whatever, and next thing you know, They'll spend a lot of money on this, and then yeah, it might not even be used, and the results may not even live up to what you'd expect, right? And that's something I always see in, there are improvements that matter in education, okay? I don't know if this is the one. I don't know if this is the one. Yeah, I mean, really, get a bunch of A4 and have the teacher just take her phone and click and have the AI process and score it. I'm not sure if this is helping me, right? I'm not sure if this is helping me as much as it's expensive for what it is. Public schools in my area give every student oh my God. Not sure where that money magic came from, but it surely wasn't there when okay. Wow. I had no idea they were getting Chromebooks. And I guess every couple of years they need to get a new one, right? Buy new Chromebooks. Because tech is evolving so fast. But just in a general,
I think
I like the idea of just seeing him draw on this with the protractor and the ruler. I'm thinking, as a notepad, I might be interested in getting a device like this, right? I really am interested in it.
when I first used a remark.
Simple digitalizing paper. Use a tablet or on your smartphone.
Okay, I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. He's got questions for Wacom. Okay, so we're going to get to this section.
To do this, we've got to translate it because we're going to have a more natural answer from you. What problem was EMR originally trying to solve, and how has that problem changed over time?
グラフィックスをコンピュータグラフィックスをより精密にするために
So it started for drawing, yeah. Okay.
離れした前
So we originally made EMR as a tool for drawing, but now we want to make it feel much closer to paper. Yeah. So hence working with ink and working with all these companies, I suppose. And we want to keep evolving it as a learning tool. So absolutely fascinating.
Okay, so I have a little bit of news for you. This is so funny because the Wacom guy is talking about this. So there was a video which was published then taken down on NKK, which is, I guess, a Japanese television station. Let me answer keep here. I'd be too scared of snapping in half as I used it as a notepad. Considering yeah, that's a good point. So the origin of it as a graphics tool is actually, I think that's incomplete. So NKK had this this video a couple years ago, which was on cool technologies that originated in Japan. And I can't remember if it was only about Wacom, but Wacom was a big part of that section. And actually, the thinking behind EMR was from typewriters, right? And the need for a typewriter that would work in a Japanese environment. And I forgot the full chain of how it all happened, but at that time, they used a pen to do something to select characters, but the pen was wired, and one of the technologies that let them escape that wire was EMR. So it goes a little bit further back than, we were just making a drawing tablet, okay? But that doesn't come out in this conversation. I'll try to find the NKK video, and they took it down, so I don't know if I'm not allowed to publish it, but I'll search for it again and see if I can find it. I do have it archived somewhere. If you're on the Discord, you can see it. I have it there. Oh, speaking of which, let me just make sure I do my Discord link here. Okay.
For here and today, yeah. In plain terms, what does an EMR pen do that a battery stylus and capacitive stylus don't?
EMR は非常に精度が良くてバッテリーがいらない
So EMR is a very accurate pen that doesn't need a battery because it relies on magnetism, electromagnetic sensing, and it can be affected by magnetic accessories. So that can reduce the pen's accuracy. So we do see that happening, yeah. So some companies like Rata decided no magnets. Yes. Because we want the best possible pen feeling, whereas...
Okay, this is interesting. This happens a lot, actually. Magnets in the device will affect the EMR, and they'll create an inaccuracy. In fact, I have a picture of one. I want to show it to you. Magnet. So I'll just show you what this actually looks like. Here's an example. This is from a Reddit thread. It can actually distort the field in such a way, like the pen. It's like Interstellar. There's like this black hole, this void, and your pen is like curved. Like the pen is moving linearly, but it distorts in this strange way, right? Like the magnet is like pushing the signal off or something. And there's all sorts of little examples here of magnets doing this. Some people discovered this because they get these desks, the computer desks, which are magnetized. That messes up EMR tablets. Sometimes even a disturbance, interference from your phone will do it. So even the Wacom moving pad, I don't have it with me right now, but let's pretend this is one of them. The Wacom moving pad has magnets for its case, like at the bottom. And as you get really close to the edge of the screen at the bottom, you'll actually see a slight deviation from the tip near those magnets. So they were just saying some manufacturers want to avoid magnets in their devices because it does create that disturbance, which is good to know.
Some companies, for instance, I'm reviewing this in a minute. This is the Big Me, which we could try the translate function on here, actually. They want to have a magnetic accessory. They want a magnetic case, and I think that's the toss-up that companies are making, isn't it? It's between magnetic and non. Let's give it, because this is supposed to have a good translator. So let's go for it. Okay, are you ready? We'll try this in a different one. See, I've just got no signal. It does have a SIM card in it, but it doesn't have a connection just here. Many Wi-Fi networks. Mine's in it though, I'm sure of it.
Network quality is quite vast.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? So if you could improve just one aspect of the pen technology for students, what would it be?
で、文字を書いているんですけど、
Kids today are writing on touchscreens. They have to be very careful when they write, So careful when they input text. So we're developing EMR with the aim of enabling a way of writing that feels the same as writing on real analog paper. And yeah, I get that. With that test I did, it was good because there was no chance of me rubbing the thing and accidentally going to the home button or something like that. It was just like using a bit of paper.
EMR はよく
I'm not sure how to interpret that, but I think part of that is probably, what do you call it? Palm rejection, really good palm rejection. I think that's what Kit was at least implying.
コストが高いというふうに言われますが、
So people often say EMR is expensive, but we believe it's for those who take a pen seriously. So it's worth the cost, So
I love that quote. Let's watch that again.
が、
So people often say EMR is expensive, but we believe it's for those who take a pen seriously.
I love that. That is such a wild thing to say. EMR is expensive, but we believe it's for those who take a pen seriously. No, I mean, by the way, I don't mean that as a criticism. That's actually, yeah. If you're gonna draw something seriously, I think you should get an EMR tablet. Yes, I do wish the Pro Pen 3 did not cost $130, but okay, I like it. It's a good answer from Wacom.
So it's worth the cost. So do you think to be able to make steps to bring the cost down though, to make it more affordable? Yeah, over time. Because I think
I always try,
The future is really exciting when you show it like that. But if that costs 300 quid, it's going to be a difficult, option for us.
Hang on a second. I gotta find out what the hell a quid is. I think it's fake English currency. Let's see, 300 quid, $2. $400. Okay. The way he giggles.
Cool to do, yeah. Oh, thanks, Ito-san. Thanks for your patience.
So let's talk about EMR next, and I'm going to bring in one of our favorite EMR tablets, and this is e-ink, and this is no front light, meaning that ink is really close to the surface. And I'm going to go ahead and get myself a note, and this is sending out a worksheet to the kids.
Now in the remainder of the video, he just uses these pens, so I'm going to skip ahead until I see something interesting.
Digital, and I think that they've actually got an answer.
Okay, so did you see that? Just how quickly it worked. Like, I didn't see a lot
Paper, and there's so often I think to myself, how are we going to go ahead and make assessment digital? And I think that they've actually got an answer. They've got an answer because
this really made me want to get one of these tablets. I just don't see a lot of pointer lag. Maybe they're doing something. Maybe it's position prediction. I don't know, but I got to try this out.
Would really make sense. Currently what we do is we send out huge stacks of papers, absolute piles of the things.
Let me move ahead and see if there's anything else interesting here. Yeah, he's just drawing as if it was paper with a ruler, which I thought was nice. And it seemed very accurate. Here
And it
is
has pressure
Infinite Eraser.
sensitivity in a kind of second mode if you really push down there as well. So that's a nice little, and if you use it on its side, look, it's really fine. I don't know why, sometimes it seems to work as pixel eraser. And if you press harder, then the area it's going to erase will get bigger.
So anyway, yeah, that's all I really wanted to show about this video. The key thing is, like, Wacom talked about their tech. The second thing, there's a bunch of new pens. I will try to get one of these pens and see if it's compatible with a Wacom One. I'm really hoping. It wasn't clear what brand these pens are. There was somewhere here he shows actually the logo. It's I don't know if you can see it somewhere here. It's like there's like a box there with the letter D in it, or something like a D. But the name of the brand was never specified. Another thing that happened here.
The people from Wacom, really, really fascinating. They've been writing to me and talking about a gamer mouse, and I said, well, what's a gamer mouse going to do? How's it?
So the previous sentence was, the people from Wacom were talking to me about a gaming mouse. So that's an interesting one. Again, not sure if Wacom's going to be making one, or it's a third party, probably a third party. And then Kit goes and searches. Actually, Intuos 3 did have a mouse. I have one of these, and I think Cube has one. They're not super common, but they used to come with the Intuos 3. Now, I never use them in the reality. But yeah, they don't require, they work just like, there's basically just another shell for the pen. But they work exactly the same way. Let's see if there's anything else here. Yeah, let me just paste the link to the video again in the chat, just in case people want to see it. Let's paste. That was to Kit's video. I left a comment, by the way, here, telling him I enjoyed the video, and I left a link to my EMR video. Hopefully he'll watch it, because he's talked about EMR before, but I don't know if he's really gone very deep into how it works. But he's got a very good grasp of like what's going on. I just want to make sure he's getting a little more knowledge about it. Let's see if there's anything interesting in his comments here. Okay. A lot of people in comments liked the information that was provided, but I think I can provide them a little bit more. Okay. What else do we have to talk about? We talked about the video. Okay, I do want to talk about Discord. Now, before I do that, though, I want to take a quick bio break and get some water. I'll be right back, okay? Give me just 1 minute. And let me turn on my music so you're not totally bored. Yeah. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, I am back. And actually, you know what? Someone had a question about this Huion Canvas 22. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see, 22. That was... This was Live Big. Will you come back to my cover question to cover Canvas 22? My question distracted you. Okay. 22 is my perfect size as well. I went from Canvas 24K to Steak Pro 22. That's a good transition. Okay, Live Big, was there a specific, if you're still here, was there a specific question? I didn't see a question. But the thing is that there's nothing, we don't know anything more about the Canvas 22 other than it's coming, and we know it's 90 hertz refresh rate and 2.5K resolution. There's no other data behind it. There's none. There's nothing we know. I will definitely get it. I will definitely get it. I believe Huion and the other Chinese tablet manufacturers, there's a national holiday right now, so everyone's kind of gone for a bit. I believe Tablet Kitten or somebody in the Discord was expecting that in March we would see something released. I forgot exactly which month, but I believe it was March. So I'm hoping by then it'll come out, and then I'll get it. I will get it immediately. Trust me, I'll get it immediately. Okay, I do want to talk about Discord. That's my next in my list of things to talk about. Discord drama. So, you know, I've been really struggling with this one because you know, I've seen, I think by now all of us have lived through several eras of, you know, the internet or social networking. And we've seen empires come and go. And this Discord drama, which didn't need to happen, by the way. And I think things are okay now, but I'm still a little concerned. I just want to share my thoughts about it briefly. First of all, they sent out some communication. It just sounded like everyone was going to have to have basically a photo ID of some kind sent to Discord, which I think is a bad idea. And they even, you know, again, I'm not going to review the original communication, but here's what people felt it said. They felt it said you're going to have to identify yourself. Your specific identity, your provable identity was going to have to be known, and it would apply to everyone, no exceptions, and they would be like analyzing your behavior, and they would be requiring you to do a video, like take a video of yourself and submit it somehow, like that would be proof that you're an adult, or they would use that. Lots of scary things. Now, I'm not here to debate whether that was a good or bad communication. Obviously, lots of people were quite panicked by it. They did later on send a kind of clarification that said a couple of things. Number one, if I recall correctly, and if I'm wrong, someone please just tell me, that this would only apply to a very small number of people. Okay, so I think that's good. That's good. They also said they didn't, and the evidence they used for that was, hey, we've turned this on already in other regions and nothing has happened bad. Like nobody's been really disrupted, or very few people have been disrupted. So that was their evidence of saying, you know, we turned it on and then like, well, things have been fine, right? And then I think they also emphasized in one of these communications that while they, you know, you'd be providing your identity or a video of you, that all that information would be stored, like the video would be stored only on your computer and never transmitted to Discord, right? Look, how can you, even if that's the truth and that's the intention, you got to know that's very scary. Anyway, I didn't want to beat everyone over the head with that, but I did really want to just chat a little bit about how Discord has become very important for me. You know, I started the drawing tablet Discord a year and a half ago. on a suggestion from someone in the subreddit. I 100% thought it was not a total waste of time, but like, I just thought I'd check in on it every couple of days to see if anyone's posted. In my world, no one uses Discord, okay? Like, I knew what it was, because my mom, she uses Midjourney. I know, AI art. And at least at the time, you had to have a Discord account and interact through a Discord server to get Midjourney to generate something from you. I don't think that's true anymore. So I was aware of it in that sense. I'd certainly seen it being used, but I had no intention of using Discord. But someone suggested it, and I thought, well, why not? It seemed like, people were using it. It turns out, I spend I'm online Discord all the time, and it's become a pretty important part of my engagement with all of you. I often tell people on the subreddit, if they ask a question, look, I'm happy to answer your question in Reddit. Reddit has its chat, which is just awful. And I say, listen, come to the Discord, ask it there. It's easier to chat with. There's other people there that can help you as well. And if we needed, we can do a, what do you call it? We can do a screen share, whatever they call it. Hi, Max, Matt, good to see you. Good to see you. But, what it made me think is I've really been enjoying Discord, and I do pay for it. I even purchased extra, what's it called, Nitro. But it also made me think you always have to be prepared for things that suddenly change, okay? It is the nature of the beast, but the thing is, I just don't know where I would go to. And I hate the idea of having to restart a community somewhere else. Hate that idea. Max, Matt, it's always good to see you join. Always good to see you join. So I don't know. I don't know if there's any real motivation anyone has to go to, what's the other one? TeamSpeak, which I never used. I knew of it, but I never used it myself. But there's nothing like Discord. And it's not that I love Discord, but that's where the community's energy really is, at least for drawing tablets. So hopefully they can sort this out. Because I think it's a bad idea to have everyone authenticated in this way. Again, they think they're saying it only applies to like people in very rare circumstances where you need to do this. So we'll see. In any case, I guess my open question is, where would people go if not Discord? I think people don't want to be on Reddit. I think people are tired of Reddit. Stack Overflow is dying, and it's really not a community place the way you'd want. I don't know of an equivalent to Discord, not a viable one, right? Live Big says, I feel you. I was talking with my friends and we had the same thoughts. It is, when I left Microsoft, I was director of community and learning. Fancy title, but, the key thing is, one of the things that I wouldn't say I learned, because it was pretty obvious and clear, but it was very reinforced all the time, is the difficulty of moving a community, like moving them from even if it's the URL changes, the same place, different URL, that's challenging. Moving your audience from one YouTube channel to another YouTube channel, you just, I can't, let's just say half the audience doesn't make that transition for whatever reason. They just don't follow you as easy. So you're starting over in a lot of ways, right? To say nothing of things like broken links that point to the old place, right? And communities are tough because no one wants to, again, and then you add on top of that the challenges of changing the feature set. Like switching from one Discord server to another would be one thing. Switching from Discord to, I don't know, I'm not going to switch anything, but just imagine for a second our Elon Musk. Let's just suppose for a second he adds a Discord-like feature to X, okay? And let's just put aside our personal feelings about Elon Musk and whatever. Let's just suppose that this was an alternative, and that's obviously well-financed because it's Elon Musk. So we don't have a necessary fear that it's going to just disappear, because X is a very big place, or Twitter. Would I switch? Would it even be viable to switch? I think it's tough. I think it's tough. Again, not that I love Discord. There's many things about it I would improve, but overall it works very well for me. It does work extremely well for me. I would say that it provides a lot of value for me. Absolutely. And I'm totally happy to pay for my subscription and an extra boost, a nitro boost. It's totally worth it for me. So we'll see. But it's good to have alternatives. It's really good to have alternatives. And you have to, what's the book? Oh yeah, there was a book called Who Moved My Cheese? And it's about I know this sounds so silly. There are two like rats in a maze, and every day like cheese gets placed in one part of the maze. And this is actually a book about like, I don't know, life and business. But every day the cheese is in the same place in the maze. And one of the rats is like, this is really cool. We got all this awesome cheese and it's just given to us. And he's just, one rat is just lazy. He's just like, I'm just going to hang out because I'm going to hang out in this corner of the maze because the cheese is here. And the other is like paranoid. He's like searching through the maze. He's every day. He's like searching for where there could be more cheese. And the other one's like, what are you doing? The cheese is here. Don't waste your energy. Just relax, dude. Cheese is here. And then one day the cheese is not there. It's the scientist has moved the cheese to another part of the maze, right? And of course, the lazy mouse or mouse is he's just torn apart by this. His world is shattered by the fact that the cheese is gone. The other guy, he finds it, and he's not alarmed by the change. He's always been living with this idea that the things he has might go away. And the reason I bring up the story is that's life, number one. You just can't accept anything in your life as being permanent. No condition of your health or relationships or monetary status or job. You have to be prepared for a change. You have to be prepared for a real change. And real change is traumatic. It is unpleasant, right? The reason I bring this up is that's my thinking about Discord. Even though things are fine for me right now and this little issue has blown over, I'm trying to be like the mouse in the active paranoid mouse in the maze. Where would things go? What would happen? Right? I'm very scared about that. So the ideal thing would be that either Discord, this issue just blows over. Turns out not to be a big deal, or there are alternatives which are better. And I think there could be alternatives which are better. I really do believe that. I have seen too many migrations away from something that seemed totally dominant to something that didn't seem dominant, that took over the new dominant service. Just as an example, MySpace. Well, this is a bunch of things, right? Some of you may remember MySpace used to be really dominant. Then suddenly, everyone just abandoned it to go to Facebook, and then Facebook, everyone just left that. Lots of things have changed like that. Lots. Friendster, which I never used, but lots of people were there, right? I'd rather switch, but I know some people will stay with Discord no matter what, and that's how community. Yeah, exactly. Some people the convenience and the habit is just too much, and I'm not criticizing those people. That is the reality, right? That is just the reality, and I don't want to see the community fall apart. I just don't want to see that. But it's going to have these traumatic effects, right? And I know, this is my personal stance here. There's an argument to be made that you should not be anonymous on the internet. And there's an argument to be made that you should be completely anonymous on the internet. I believe for the most part, people should be allowed to be anonymous, and only in certain cases should you not have anonymity. And those are pretty restrictive cases, right? I can understand why parents want to know what their kids are doing. I can also understand why, I shouldn't say kids, it really trivializes things. It's very young people sometimes need anonymity, right? For all sorts of reasons, right? Some people, for example, need to be anonymous because if people knew where they physically were, they would be, they would be at the risk of serious physical harm. Think of someone escaping an abusive relationship, right? Can you understand how that might be, or doesn't want to be associated with people who are harmful to them in other ways than physical? You might not want to be having your identity be clearly known, or even known to a trusted source, right? Guys, I have a secret identity. I'm just 7 pens now. My real identity is a secret. But 7 is close enough. 7 is close enough to my name. The truth is, my name is very similar to 7. It is actually very close. But, what's the right word? I came up with the name 7 Pens, not as a name for me, but for the channel, because I had 7 EMR pens. And it didn't even dawn on me that people would call me 7 Pens or 7. Like it just it just completely went over my head. And so people started calling me 7 Pens, then just 7 or 7P or 7. And so I've just kind of adopted that, right? And people mispronounce my name often enough that even in the past, they have called me 7. I totally forgot about that. So at this point, sometimes when I've actually met new people, I've actually just told them my name is 7. Because again, it does really sound like my name. Steven. Well, actually, you know what's funny? Have you ever been in a crowd and someone says a name? I've often heard someone say Steven, and it sounds like my name. So I'll be like, are you talking about me? So 7 works for me. 7 works for me. My brother actually legally changed his name. He changed his name. Should I tell you his name? I don't know if I should. Let's put it this way. His first name still sort of matches his ethnicity, okay? But his last name really does not. It really does not. Nor his new middle name, which, by the way, that's his legal name on his, his driver's license and his passport. I think I'll keep that a secret. One day I'll reveal it. But it's a wild story. But his name is very different from his birth name. But yeah, people just call me 7 now, at least definitely online. And okay, I'll tell you my brother's last name, his new last name. His last name is Jackson. His new last name is Jackson. How's that? Okay, Jackson. I know. And what's funny is, my family, depending on the context in which we're talking about him, we will call him, I would say, a majority of the time we use his new name. Even though I knew him for a very long time with his obviously his original name. 7 does sound very sci-fi. Mr. 7. Oh, so speaking of going back to community for a second, I don't know. My feeling is Reddit. I've been really disappointed with Reddit. Now I use Reddit. I'm a mod on a bunch of drawing tablet subreddits. But and I'm not talking about anything to do with the content per se. I am not talking about moderation policies or admins or drama. None of that. I'm just talking about the user experience of Reddit. It's unbelievable how little it's advanced. And by the way, I do use Reddit Enhancement Suite to make it better. But it could be so much better. And I do get the feeling, though, that people are... I'd love to see the numbers. I get the feeling Reddit is definitely not as popular as it used to be. I think people are trying not to use it, okay? And so the drawing tablet subreddits, I am keeping my mind out. I'm keeping my feelers out and looking where, after 7 of 9, 7 of pens, looks, yeah. 7 of 9 was played by actress Jerry Ryan. Jerry Ryan. She's a very good actress, actually. Live big. I prefer Discord over Reddit also. Right? That's right. It is much, the drawing tablet Discord server is like 1,200 people. Not a big server. And I'm totally fine with it staying small. I'm not trying to make it a big server. But it's a very tight-knit group. It's a very tight-knit group. And you can, if you're ever there, you'll notice who's online, who's talking, and it has a life of its own. I don't need to be there, meaning there's enough people talking all the time that something's happening. I don't have to make something happen, okay? But like a second family, yeah. Yeah, that's right. You do, and you form relationships with people online. So I do think something has to displace Reddit at some point, though. I feel like it's aged enough. It's at least 20. It's like 20 years old, by the way. Reddit is. I don't know what the path forward is to it. Right? I just don't. It doesn't seem like it's really innovating. As someone who answers a lot of questions, it doesn't really help me answer questions. Yeah, I could see X taking it over, but I really could. Because I think it's the kind of thing Elon would do. So yeah, we'll see what the next social network is. But I think Discord, right now, they're locked in. They are locked in. Okay, let me move topics a little bit to... There we go. I want to talk about AI coding. Observations and learning. So I've been doing a lot of AI coding. And just for the audience, so that we're on the same page, remember, I do not endorse the use of AI for generating artwork. Of course, I've done it. I test it every couple of weeks just to see what it can do. But a couple of thoughts. I'm going to start with AI coding. We'll talk about AI, Gen AI, in a second. So, first of all, I am really impressed. AI, so just to be clear what I'm using Google Anti-Gravity, so Gemini, GitHub Copilot, Cursor, also JetBrains. They have their own AI. I haven't tried Claude yet. I heard it's the best. But here's my take on this. And by the way, I'm not talking about starting a business or anything. I'm just talking about what it's like writing code with AI assistants, okay? Obviously, you cannot trust it at every step to do everything perfectly, okay? So that's kind of like, let's put that out of our heads for a second, okay? I will say it has helped me in a lot of very amazing ways. And I'm going to be very honest with you. First of all, I pay for those services, for Google, the anti-gravity thing, for GitHub Copilot, and for Cursor, and for JetBrains. So I pay for 4 different AI coding services. And here's how it's impacted me. Number one, it has helped me navigate APIs the documentation was awful or non-existent or just not organized in a way that made sense. Okay, it has made a big difference for me. I ask it about how. I'll literally take a walk and ask it, how does this API work? It will tell me. So that's valuable because, as you know, I'm retired. I'm not at Microsoft anymore, so I don't really have this audience. I can go to anyone and ask questions. Number 2, it has gotten much better about being accurate about what it tells me. It doesn't hallucinate stuff the way it used to, at least not as much. It used to just make up APIs and function calls. Now, I'm sure it still does that occasionally, but I haven't encountered it lately, so I'm very happy with that. It has taken, when you're writing code, a lot of what you do is bookkeeping. okay? If you've ever had to refactor something, okay, just even renaming something, you have to like make sure you're renaming it consistently everywhere and do all this. And that's just renaming something. Think about refactoring something, like move this code from this object to this object. Like, you know what to do. You can do it. It would just take you time. There's nothing creative about the task, and you just have to make sure you don't break anything. I have found AI extremely good at that. Extremely good at that. Okay? That's helped me. There's code I've always wanted to clean up, and I'm like, oh, thank God. This actually takes what used to be, you know, a 1 week task and makes it a couple of hours one day, right? And, you know, I run my unit tests. I don't just accept all its code. I do read the code. And that's been a tremendous improvement for me, a benefit for me. Galba says, initiated by India government, attended by major presidents, PM of various nations. Sorry, Galbus, what is this comment in relation to? PM of various nations. Okay, I'm missing the context. The other thing it's helped me with is spotting patterns that wouldn't be obvious to me. I am really not, I don't really know, sorry, let me back up before I get to this part. Web development, I'm really not very familiar with the intricacies of CSS or of things like React or Vue. Like, it's all like weird libraries that I know people use, but I've never used them, right? So I have what I want to build. I can write the JavaScript for the core part, but the part that does the UI part, it's been really good at building the experience for me. Okay. Yes, it does get things wrong sometimes, and I have to like tell it, hey, you did that wrong, or I have to fix it manually. But that's been a big thing for me because like I've got the core algorithm, but like the user interface now, it's much easier for me to get one out in just maybe an hour, right? You know, I like to draw myself. AI takes that away. It's like buying a ready. You can do both, but well, again, I don't use AI to draw things. I use AI to help improve my code, right? The other thing, getting back to how user experience works, you know, especially with UI, some of you will not understand what I'm saying, but I'll just say it like this. Sometimes something's happening over here, and the UI's happening over here, right? It's just doing it. They're both independently happening. And you have to be careful about how they talk, okay? And this is like a problem of synchronization or race conditions. Everyone who computes knows what I talk about. Sometimes it's not obvious that those problems of communication exist. Just so everyone knows, here's a simple problem. Sometimes there's, I don't know, let's just say you have your user account. You have your name, ID, and email. And this is the UI showing it to you. And then here's the actual code that is the, I don't know, processing things. And you might change them in a weird order so things don't show correctly. So you need to synchronize the changes. And sometimes it's not obvious you need to do it. Okay, so AI has been very effective in helping me spot those problems. These are called threading problems, okay? And not only that, since the code I typically write has not been very thread heavy, and I don't get into those kind of APIs very often, I'm not aware of all the techniques to deal with them. So by asking the AI, hey, look, I just wrote this, and I know, like I already know I've got this part processing data, and I've got the UI here, and I go, I changed something. I just ask it, did I do anything that might have affected thread safety or how these things work? And it'll say, yes, you did something dangerous. Would you, and here are the different ways you can address it. Would you like me to implement them? I'll be, okay, let's go with, it might give me 3 options, go with this one. Or I'll say, you know what? Let me change my design so I don't get that issue. And I'll say, I made the change that helped things. It goes, yes, you no longer have this problem. That's really good. Because really, if you were to do that at work with a human being, meaning someone else asked, that's a lot of time that someone has to invest with you. And again, it's helped me realize the issues. So I'm now much better at spotting the issue and then asking AI to help me fix it than just relying on AI to tell me the issue exists. So I'm learning about the issues. It's teaching me as a kind of mentor in a certain way. So I like that. Galva says, my comment went missing. AI Impact Summit. Oh, got it. I've heard about this summit. I heard about this summit. Yes. Yeah, so it's I am able to be much more productive with it, with this kind of AI assisted coding. I have to be completely honest with you, I didn't think it would be as big a difference as it was. I am 100% a believer that, at least for people writing code, this is a huge deal. This is a huge deal. And how this is going to affect, jobs is another problem, because I can totally see that people who are more senior, they struggle with time to do all these little bookkeeping tasks and little UI tweaks and things. And here, if you're a senior person and you know what's happening, I could see that a company would say, hey, look, we're not going to hire more junior developers. We're going to just pay an extra $1,000. I'm just making up a number, $1,000 a month or whatever. And it'll give you enough AI credits so that you can take on the work of that would take 5 junior developers in addition to your senior work, right? So it's going to have that effect. It probably is happening that in some cases. I'm sure some companies are struggling with it. I don't know how it's working on Microsoft, right? But just to give you some idea, I'm going to tell you how hard it is, meaning expense, meaning time, how hard it is to get something implemented in Microsoft. Forget whether you get approval to do it. I'm just going to tell you, you have something you want, here's how much work it takes. So give me an example. So I'm going to bring up Chrome here for a second. Okay. So I used to work in Microsoft Office, and this is where this knowledge comes from. So I just want you to see that here, there's an item that says create new tab group, okay? And let's just, for the sake of argument, say I was a program manager and we were going to implement a new feature called, because no one knows about tab groups, and we're going to add another item right below it that says teach me about tab groups. Forget whether it's a good idea to have this feature or not, okay? So as a PM, you write a spec that says, okay, add a menu item here that says teach me about tab groups. When the user clicks on it, a dialog appears. And a dialog just has a text box that says blah, blah, blah about tab groups. And then it says, okay. And when you hit okay, the dialog goes away. Super simple, okay? I'm gonna tell you what that is like to implement in reality. Now, if you're just building a random app, it's pretty easy. You just implement it and you'll be done in, half an hour. When you're in Microsoft Office, I can estimate it for you right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm counting off days. Okay, I would estimate that as a 5 to 6 day workout. It takes a developer 5 days to make that. You're probably wondering, how is it possible that a button that launches a dialog that has a symbol that just dismisses takes 5 days? Okay, so that's data point number 1. Now, data point number 2 is, how many files do you think are touched? How many code files do you think are touched? You might be thinking 3 or 4. That would be reasonable, right? Try, back then it would have been in the order of 27. Now it's probably like 50, okay? And you're probably wondering, how could 50 files possibly have gotten modified to do this? Okay, so this is bookkeeping, right? It's very simple what the thing's supposed to do, but there's a lot of bookkeeping to make it happen. And let me tell you how this works. In order to get that one menu, even this little button up here that says, teach me about tab groups. This is because the framework is so complex and so deep, and has to have so many requirements. Getting the words here, teach me about tab groups, is estimated to be 1 day. So we have these heuristics about how much time it'll take to do something. it estimates to take that task of just putting the text there 1 day. Clicking on it is another day. The dialogue appearing is another day. The text box being populated by text is a day. Maybe it's half a day. The OK button is a day, and then making it do something, meaning close the dialogue, is another day. That's roughly how I come up with 5 days. Because there's a lot of code that do simple things in these massive, UX frameworks in Microsoft. And I'm not complaining. This is just the complexity. And why does it take 24 files or 27 files or 50 files? Because for you to put something in a menu in any product, Teach Me About Tab Groups requires that you have to create a resource file, because you can't put the actual English text in the code. That goes in a resource file, or whatever the equivalent is these days. And then that has to be localized, and there's localization of different files. So each one's a different file, 50 languages, 50 files, plus that one file, and then you got the dialogue, which also has to be localized. Like, you end up with a lot of work to do something very simple. Okay? But remember, the requirement was simple. Button, launch dialogue, close. Imagine now, and not all things that happen in a big company are like that, but lots of stuff is. That took 5 days of someone's very diligent work to do everything correctly. Imagine if that wasn't needed, right? And even if you got rid, meaning not get rid, but if you simplified that task for senior developer, you'd just take up that much more, you could spend that money on another senior developer, do something even more complicated, like work on some core engine tech or whatever for your graphics app. So I'm just sorry, I know I'm going pretty deep on this, but I just wanted to share this because it is so interesting to me how much improvement it's made in how I code now. And that's why I hadn't streamed in a week or so, because I've been writing a lot of code. Again, I want to just make sure you're clear on this. I'm not just telling it to spit out stuff and just accepting it. There's sometimes I don't really closely look at what it says because I just understand what it's doing. But almost always I look at the diff and just see if there's anything weird. Now, if the code is C#, I pretty much clearly understand what's happening. If it's web stuff, I would say most of the time I understand roughly speaking what's happening. But I'm not a CSS expert. I don't really know how Vue works. But I understand the basic logic of what's happening, though it's a little more occluded in these cases. So yeah, this is the future, AI coding. And I think lots more. It's going to be, I know I'm probably preaching to a lot of people here, but it's going to be big. Now, if these improvements go to other fields, I don't know. But I think if you're doing things that are code or like code, it's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big deal. Anyway, that's all I want to say about AI coding. If there's any other questions about it, or comments. Okay, I'm gonna switch to my, one of my last topics here. This is just the fun part of this. This is me just chatting. Since I've been streaming now for 2.5 hours, I might as well. Okay. I did my favorite sci-fi movies. Okay. And I wanted to talk about my favorite fantasy movies. These are fantasy movies I highly recommend you watch, and I'll share a few things about them, so it's not just a list, okay? So give me a second, let's get... And I'll show you the trailers for them too, okay? And some of them I don't think YouTube is going to yell at me about. I don't think... I'll have to check, Okay. Let me mute the movie. Yeah, it's muted, okay. So, let me get a quick list up here.